there's one thing I also want to mention that's also really important is to also like, this is the fetishization of Asian women. Because they really talked about that. They had the woman had this one girl. She had like oh my gosh, she had this really passionate, deep speech about her experiences, and this fucking just like like oh shit, man, like that's a very thing. The fetishization with Asian women and the sexual harassment and the disrespect and just like and the thing about it is like that shit is learned. That shit's in our media. You know what I mean? Like that shit's on our media. You know the fucking me so horny, love you long time type shit.
Yeah.
I mean they put that in fucking songs. You know what I'm saying? There's hit records with that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just an example, but still it's like we have to look at stuff like that. We have to look at the stuff that we feed, the media, the content that we feed ourselves or whatnot, and understand like what type of shit, what kind of message does this really portray? You know what I'm saying? And there's people who have such, personal, dark, deep experiences, and a lot of these things can be triggering for them,
Mm-hmm.
And like you said about like, and like also, with the Asian community, how like they were like the older generation, like tell them not to speak up and try to blend in and that, they didn't get a chance to really speak out the way they should have had. But I know they have a lot of deep rooted feelings because they were silent and put up with so much shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and now America's starting to see the pain that they go through, and there's a lot of awareness that we need to have. We all need to be educated and, and educate the youth and move forward in a positive direction so we can finally have some peace, but first things first, the tax need to fucking stop. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. Well, I kind of wish we talked about that more. We actually didn't even touch on that of the over sexualization of Asian women.
Yeah.
And the emasculation of Asian males.
Man, yep. That's another one.
They're literally two sides of
the same coin.
Yeah. But I feel like, dude, there's just so much to unpack in with this thing that's going on. We didn't even think about touching that yet because like fucking shit's going down, man. I don't know.
We were talking a lot about a lot of different things. We were talking like historical context, but like when you talk about sort of the sexual nature of making, and I'm see it happen with various groups, but I think it's most pronounced with Asian groups where you can make it a sexual preference where I prefer Asian women, but I do not prefer Asian men, right? Like that is like it's so constant. Whereas like preferring, you can prefer or not prefer like black men or black women. There are people that sort of like fetishize both, right? Whereas it's very consistent. You people fuck with Asian women, but they don't fuck with Asian men, and there isn't the same kind of sort of
you talking about like
quality there.
Like a bisexual person? They're talking about
no. I mean, so when men just in general say I fuck with Asian women, and then women just in general say I don't fuck with Asian men. Like whereas you could find women say like I fuck with both. Like I do fuck with black men, or I fuck with black women. Yeah. So it's like it's like. It's about turning these things into preferences as opposed to calling them out for what they are, which is like
it's like fetishization
and ultimately racism.
Exactly.
Which is very big and also in the LGBTQ community, the fetishizing of Asian men to feel like that they're submissive and stuff like that. So that's one of the things.
Really?
Yeah.
And that they're feminized.
Feminized that they must fit in this framework. Like being a gay Asian man, I had identity crisis because I didn't fit in that construct. Being has to be the skinny, hairless, I guess Asian bottom that
or the twink, right?
Did it make you feel like less gay?
Yeah, I honestly did too, because I felt like I couldn't gravitate to a certain identity because I didn't fit in one of those constructs. Yeah, and which was like, am I at that? Or like, what am I? It's just not just with Asian men too, because there's also fetishizing of black men. and for that. So there's a lot of that stuff we have to tear down. And I agree. We have to call those things out that may be considered as preferences, but not really. They're fetishizations.
Yeah. Do you have any advice on gay Asian males such as yourself who might feel that way about not fitting in the box?
It's tough because in the LGBT community, I think there's a lot of things we have to tear down. There's a lot of these like certain buckets that put people in, and you have to really just own up in who you are, and that's what I think I think it really has to come with a kind of self-love, right? You really have to have that identity, that feel like whoever you are, that's just what the person you're gonna love, and how someone not gonna love you if you can't like yourself because you don't feel like you're identifying with something. Fuck that, like identify who you are, and then and someone will love you for that. So that's my only advice for some people: break that social construct.
Mm. Yeah. And Aaron, did these women give any examples of how we should combat this idea of over-sexualizing Asian females?
I'm trying to remember. This is all fresh. All I can say is that, like, I mean, first of all, we can't just be fetishizing Asian women, period. Period. And she gave so many examples and so many personal examples. You know what I mean? How can I say? Because she was really talking about personal experiences, and it was fucking deep. So I was, I didn't really, off the bat, I can't remember every detail of the speech. I mean, when like giving an example, like, trying to give like how to combat it, but it was more so in the sense to stop fetishizing Asian women, and then also relating to attacks. The shooting at the spas.
Yeah.
That shooting at the spas, but it's just that just when it's all said and done, man, it was you just gotta just fetishization. I mean, it's racial fetishization. It's a form of racism.
Mm-hmm.
That's really it.
Definitely.
It's a form of racism, and her examples were showing how damaging it is. You know what I mean? And the things that it pushed people to do. I mean, not just the shootings, but other things are terribly fucked up. And she had a lot of people come up who are victims of these things. And you'd be surprised how many people in the crowd were victims of these things. And you'd be surprised how young some of the victims are. Like, I saw a 13-year-old girl crying her fucking face off. Like, she's like only 13. But she wasn't crying as if she was shocked by what she heard. She was crying as if she probably experienced those things herself. You know what I mean? That's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucked up. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, just like they're down to the bare minimum. I mean, down to just the meat of the situation, just the basics of what of all this really about. It's just that it's just like. Just like you said, the way we fed races, like different races and shit, it just all has to stop because it's truly damaging and it creates tragic situations that either ends people's lives or just ruins their lives. Either mentally or like just from a mental health standpoint, or you get the point. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just so much fucking work needs to be done, yo.
Yeah.
Shit, that's it. But here's the thing, though. I'm just glad people are starting to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We all got to start somewhere, and it's starting to grow. You know what I mean? So that's, it's,
I mean, I think one place that we can start with, on trying to sort of fix the fetishization problem is that we have to have more honest conversations about, healthy perceptions and views of sex just in general, because I think that that's also sort of like the starting and breeding ground for incel culture just in general, because they believe that women owe them something, right, in some capacity. And it's because of these constant images that they're bombarded with, that like, if you're a nice guy, that women should just generally be throwing themselves at your feet in general. And, you know, with Asian women in particular, like it becomes this safe, exotic space for them, for, you know, men to live in, because of, I think it's also related to the model minority scenario, where it's like, you know, they're exotic enough, you know, they're not too exotic, but they're, you know,
like they don't look like Spanish people or Latin people or white people. They look different enough that
because Latina women are fiery and have their own, like, you might have to fight with them because
that quote of being submissive, right?
Exactly. There's this submissive scenario where they will just sort of fall in line. They won't say anything. They'll do everything you ask them to. And they're exotic enough that it's safe for, you know, their friends and families to accept, right? And so it's about teaching men or showing men that, like, we have to have healthier ways of engaging with sex and the opposite sex, as it were, or the same sex, like, to know that, like, these are healthy boundaries versus these are not healthy.
Well, first off, I want to say respect other people's boundaries. No means no. You know, you're not the guy from Gone to Win for his name, but I know we're 3 hours in. Sucks because you just joined us, Aaron. I wish you could have been here.
My bad. I just seen your message like a few minutes ago with the invite. I was.
You're fighting the good fight. Nobody can hate you.
Yeah, your fight is important too.
He was doing the field because, like, he was doing the field research. I told him we talked about the field research. Right? Yeah.
The news broadcast. Yeah.
The news broadcast. Yeah. We were Aaron Coleman.
Man.